History is filled with paradoxes. One of the most intriguing is how an organization founded on ideals of brotherhood and peace could not only survive, but even thrive during times of violent conflict. This is the story of Freemasonry, not as a force for political change, but as a quiet, human thread woven through the brutal tapestry of yore. At its core, Freemasonry is not a religion or a political party. It is a fraternity, a society of men dedicated to moral and spiritual self-improvement. Their foundational principles are simple, yet profound: brotherly love, relief, and truth. Members, known as Masons, take an obligation to treat all fellow Masons as brothers, regardless of their nationality, their politics, or their creed. For an organization that prides itself on universality, what happens when its members find themselves on opposite sides of a battlefield, when the bonds of a shared fraternity are tested by the divisions of a world at war? There is perhaps no better example of this paradox than the American Revolution. The conflict was not just a clash of armies, but a war of ideals. Yet, within both the Continental Army and the British forces, a silent network existed: the Masonic fraternity. General George Washington, Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, was a lifelong Mason, as was his close friend and ally, the French nobleman Marquis de Lafayette. But so too were many British officers, including General Sir William Howe. While the war raged, there are documented instances of these fraternal bonds influencing personal actions, if not the outcome of the war itself. One such story involves General Baron von Steuben, a German officer who was instrumental in training Washington's troops at Valley Forge. A fellow Mason, von Steuben's dedication to the American cause was bolstered by the close fraternal ties he shared with Washington. Another powerful anecdote is that of General Joseph Warren, a highly respected leader of the American Masons. After being killed at the Battle of Bunker Hill, his body was disfigured and left on the field. It was not until 2 years later that Paul Revere, also a Mason, with the help of a British Mason, was able to locate the body, identify it by a unique mark, and ensure it received a proper burial. This act of reverence between opposing parties speaks to a humanity that transcended the conflict. These were not isolated incidents. In prisons, captured Masons from both sides were sometimes given better treatment by their captors. In negotiations, a shared fraternal bond could sometimes open a door that political tensions had slammed shut. But these were individual acts of kindness, born of a personal commitment to an oath. They did not, and could not, bring the war to an end. The notion of Masonic neutrality was an ideal, a high standard of conduct that often clashed with the harsh realities of patriotism, loyalty, and survival. While Freemasonry's core values provided a moral compass, they could not erase the fundamental conflict of a war fought for national survival. In the end, the Masons on both sides were patriots first. They fought bravely for their respective nations, often against men they had once called brother. The fraternity did not create peace, nor did it end the war. The true legacy of Freemasonry in times of war is not in its ability to halt conflict, but in its unwavering reminder of shared humanity. It is a testament to the idea that even in the darkest hours of division and strife, the simple, quiet bonds of fraternity can offer a glimmer of light and a whisper of hope. A hope that one day, the principles of brotherly love will, in fact, prevail.